coming today?
I think he's still out of the country, is he not? Yeah, I think he's out.
Okay.
Okay, we're good.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I will call our meeting to order at 5:02 p.m. I'll start with the land acknowledgement. The Altadena Library District acknowledges its presence on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded land of the Gabrielino Tongva peoples. Altadena is located on the stolen homelands of the Hahamunga tribal band. The traditional territory of the Gabrielino Tongva is referred to as Tavangar, which includes the areas currently known as the Los Angeles County, Riverside County, West San Bernardino County, parts of Orange County, as well as the 4 southern Channel Islands. Entities such as the U.S. government and non-native settlers have subjected the Gabrielino Tongva peoples to historic and continuing injustices, including genocide, forced displacement, and cultural and linguistic erasure. Altadena Library commits to learning, educating, and informing its staff and residents of present-day Altadena about the rich histories, vibrant communities, and culture of the Gabrielino Tongva people, present and past, through our collection development, resources, and program offerings. Okay, we'll do a roll call. Trustee Lim.
Here.
Trustee Andrews.
Here.
I am here. Trustee Clark.
Here.
Awesome. Okay. Next we have, do we have any, I understand we have some reordering of the agenda items. It has been requested to move the support groups to, item 1D. Yes? Can I get, do we have to have a motion for that?
Yes.
I can never remember. Okay. Can I have a motion to reorder the agenda items as stated, moving the support groups up to item 1D?
I move we change the agenda items as stated.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. May I next have a motion that we adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent, thank you. And then do we have any public comment on non-agenda items?
We do not.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't write something, but I did. I'm sorry. I didn't know everything. I didn't see it.
Go ahead. We have Mr. Mark Marisol coming up to make public comment.
Okay. On non-agenda items.
Non-agenda items, Mark Mariscal,
Okay.
resident of Altadena. So I would like to say for the 52,000 people living in and watching this very important Altadena Library District Board of Trustee meeting, to remind you that our Altadena Summer Concert Series starts on July 6th with probably one of the best bands that we've had for since we've started taking over since 2017, but it's called, we're starting with a group called Fat Cat Swingers, PHAT. And so look them up on YouTube, but be there on July 6th as we start the summer concerts. And again, the Rotary Club truly appreciates the Altadena Library District and its support for helping us and the community keep this event alive, because as you know, about 7 years ago, it almost died in our community. And we stepped up when requested through the Sheriff's Department and the Sheriff's Support Group. So we were happy to do that. The other thing is my grandkids and one of your trustees' kids at least, and Camila, I don't know if you've gone over, but Parks After Dark, it's a great program at Loma Alta Park, LA County. And so I would encourage anybody watching this today to make sure you go out there and utilize those programs Thursday, Friday, and Saturdays at Loma Alta Park from I think 6 to 9, somewhere around there. And then I do want to thank the library publicly just for what happened for kickoff of Pride. I just thought it was a great event. I was here as Nikki represented the district and spoke. It was a nice event. It's good to see a combination of community people here. And so we have an eclectic community, as many people would say. And so the library and the staff and the trustees, knowing the importance of what this government entity in Altadena is all about, continues to make sure that the community does know that there's a giant hub of activities that surround the Altadena libraries. So with that, that's my public comment for today.
Thank you, Mark. And then you should probably stay there then, because, right, we
I
have
know.
the support groups next.
I was kind of waiting for Tom. Tom's not on the thing, right?
He's
Dave?
here.
Huh?
Yeah, Tom is in the.
Oh, Tom is here. I didn't see him on the screen.
No.
Okay, well, shall we start with the Altadena Library Foundation?
Sure. So, Mark Mariscal, president of the Altadena Library Foundation. The biggest thing is, of course, our September 28th we're having our Taste of Dena event in the parking lot. So invites are just getting ready to go out. Sponsor packets have already gone out. We've got a good commitment so far. I would say that one of the things, we'll send the request in writing to the library district staff for the request to be able to have early closure on that Saturday, September 28th, as we have had in the past. And other than that, thank you for all your support to allow us to be supportive of you. And just before I turn it over to Tom, who I thought was gonna try to be here for a quick photo, but we'll do it another time. But I do want to hold up this, am I gonna, also, right there. I just want to hold this up because Tom's gonna talk about what we did at the Friends annual meeting, but for the record, everybody watching, all 52,000 of you, I want you to see this check. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Okay, then we can move on to the Friends of the Altadena Library.
Thank
Tom?
you, Thank you, Mark, for that intro. Yes, at our annual meeting of the Friends of the Library back at the beginning of the month, we had a ceremony where we presented Nikki with that check. $20,000 of that was for our annual contribution to the library. The other $40,000 of that check is for the naming rights of the new Friends of the Altadena Library bookstore in the newly renovated library. So thank you all very much for your support throughout the year. The Friends are now on hiatus through September. We're already planning a September book sale. I need to get together with Catalina and Ashley and coordinate those dates when we return.
Okay. Thank you so much, Tom.
You're welcome.
Any questions for Tom or Mark?
Just a big thank you from me too. Way to go, Tom.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, then let's move on to the consent calendar. May I get a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So.
Second.
All in favor?
Bye.
Okay, excellent. We shall move on to item 4, department updates and special presentation. So we have a special presentation on the diversity audit, and who will be giving that?
Oh,
No?
I updated the agenda package, and I forgot to update the agenda, I apologize. but
Okay.
That's been postponed until next month.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, then the department updates and reports. Any questions for the staff about the reports or comments?
Well, I had a comment, and that is on page 17 of our packet. Scrolling to it myself. If that picture on the left doesn't break me up, doesn't lift your spirits, I don't know what does. So that's gonna be the topic of the year for a board packet.
Oh, I love it.
It's
The
that
little
cutie
one
in the
with the
bug.
ladybug?
Bug mask.
Yes,
Yeah,
I loved it.
That kind of captured the whole thing for me,
Mm-hmm,
which is so it's a terrific picture, whoever took that.
yeah, agreed.
And my big comment is just a huge round of applause to the staff. I know we're right in the middle of summer reading and there's so much going on all the time. But it's incredible and I'm excited to see next month. I know this month it's like it's like a fire hose of awesome library programming. So thank you so much.
Any other questions or comments on the department updates? I have a very small question. Where can I get some of the color changing stress balls? That sounded exciting to me. Totally random, but if you have one, I would love one.
Okay, I don't have to.
Okay.
Thank
All right. So then we can move on to,
Can I just add one more
yes,
thing?
please.
And that was, I was really struck too by the town council intern visit. This is an appropriate place for that is just terrific. And those kids, I don't know if any of them are here tonight, or if they, first let me calling them kids too, but they were so interesting in the little biographies that they wrote about themselves. And made me realize I got a lot of catching up to do of all the stuff that's happening out there, but that was a terrific way to get them and, you know, into the library and get the library, you know, taking their services as well. So it was really great to see that.
You know, that reminds me, as I was reading that, Terry, I also was thinking that even though they're, you know, younger, you're also just kind of building out our seats and positions with all these young people that are you know, civically minded and getting involved in the town council and the interns here. So that was really cool. It's what I thought about when reading that. Like, we're not, you know, we won't hurt for people, hopefully, to get engaged because we have so many young people getting engaged.
Well, as Mark would say to all 52,000 people watching, if you are 18 years old and registered to vote in Altadena, you too can run for the Altadena Library Board. So check out the packet. The county just released it. So
Oh, did they?
yeah, just today, Catalina, you just sent a
Yes.
thing about it. So,
Okay.
Handbook is out.
Oh, I did see that.
It's on our website, on the
Okay.
board elections page. If anybody is interested, we do have a board elections page, which you can get to directly if you go to the board page, the main one. And it'll give you all the information about how you can run.
and as long as you're a registered Altadena voter, you are eligible.
And please call us if you have questions about that, so.
Yes, exciting.
And just a final comment from me, and that is, considering that we're building down in the library right now, this thing looked as robust as I've ever seen it in terms of activities and so on. So good job to staff for getting all these things up and running, probably sometimes in awkward configurations and so on. It was really struck by how busy we are right now.
And thank you all again for your excellent reports. They're always fun to read. Let's move to the administrative update. Will you be giving that, Ashley?
Yes.
Okay.
So good evening, everyone, and all the 52,000 people watching. That was
This
a
would be a
perfect
theme of the night.
segue. And into me talking about staffing, because as robust as those reports are, we've had to do a lot of that while staffing has changed quite a bit. And I'm excited that we were able to bring on 6 new hires. Some of them are interns, so 4 out of the 6, or 5 out of the 6 are interns. 2 work directly with our lunch at the library program. Another 2 of them, Nathan and Andrea, work directly with public services, so they are assisting with programs, outreach, and other special projects that we have. And then we also have Regan Sakai, who is a marketing library intern who is working very closely with Bryn to market all of this great stuff that we're doing. So we're happy to have the extra help and also help those in the community learn and gain new library skills. We also had a library assistant start with us on May 28th, Jennifer Barrow. And again, the new hires that we have just have really hit the ground running and have came on board and are eager to fill some of the shoes that you see that need filling in our board report package. So happy to bring them all on. No promotions to report at this time, but we did have one resignation from Alice Wynn, who was a library clerk for us for the past 5 years. And she is moving on to the next chapter of her career, because she's also pursuing her MLIS. So we may see her back in the library world one day soon. Alice was mostly responsible for our zine collection, as well as she brought back the open mic nights here, as well as at Callisto Tea House. So Alice will be missed, but we are really excited for her as she starts her journey to becoming a zine librarian. As for recruitment, we did post the staff accountant position in late April, and with the help of our accountant, Trustee, we were able to sift through the most qualified candidates in order to conduct an interview the week of June 3rd. And we conducted final interviews on June 5th, and we were able to select a candidate that will be starting with us on July 8th. So happy to fill that position. We also posted a recruitment for library clerk in mid-May. The interviews for library clerk took place last Monday, and we just got a signed conditional offer letter back today from our selected candidate, who is very excited and eager to join our team. So we're looking to have that candidate start with us on July 1st.
Excellent.
And hopefully it'll be quiet for a bit on the recruitment front, but excited to bring all of these new candidates on. As for marketing, we've been keeping Bryn very busy promoting our summer reading program. So as you can see in the report, there are lots of fun pictures from our kickoff event where we had Wild Wonders, bring lots of cute animals. We had all sorts of crafts and so many activities to do, and it was a very well attended event. We had over 400 people join us.
That's great.
So very exciting. And Bryn's also been busy working with our two new poets laureate to get rolling on their season, which is expected to kick off in August. In addition to that, I brought with me, where did I put it? Here it is. So Brent had mentioned a couple of times that she had written about the Bob Lucas Library renovation. She had written an article for Altadena Neighbors, and it did come out in the July issue that I have here. So if you did not have a chance to look at it, was a really, really great job about the groundbreaking and also just about that library as a whole. So I'll have this here for anyone who wants to take a look. Aside from marketing, we had lots of things take place, including the $60,000 check that Mark already shared, where 20,000 of that 60 is their contribution for the fiscal year of 24-25, with the other 40 being for naming rights for the Friends of the Library bookstore. So we do appreciate all of the fundraising that the Friends of the Library do for us and are grateful to receive that check, because I already have plans on how to spend it, so thank you. We had staff training with Jennifer Coyle on June 13th, where we learned all about how to give and receive feedback. So the morning session was staff members attended, and we just talked about the foundations of receiving and giving feedback. And then in the afternoon, the management team discussed mastering feedback, where it just was really great to dig deeper as a team and just be on the same page about the messaging that we want to send to staff. Because at the end of the day, we just really want to see them grow and benefit from the feedback we're giving them. So we appreciate that time spent with Jennifer Coyle, and I do want to thank the board for allowing us to have a late opening that day so that all staff could participate. We already kind of mentioned the third annual Altadena Pride Walkabout, where Nikki was able to give the opening remarks and was joined by Senator Portantino, as well as other elected officials such as LA County Supervisor Catherine Barger, and other distinguished guests. We are really happy to host that every year, so it was nice to participate in their third annual event. I did share some statistics in the paragraph about our summer 2024. and just kind of giving a summary of where we are as of June 14th. So as of that date, we had 517 patrons registered for summer reading with 49 challenge completions and over 62,000 minutes read. So our community reading goal is 500,000 minutes, so still have a ways to go. So this is a little plug to please sign up for summer reading and read your 500 minutes so that you can help us achieve our goal. Also, this past month, Finn and I attended the Serving with a Purpose conference where we got to see Sophia. So pictures are included in the report. It was nice to catch up with her. But that conference is all about support groups and just helping them with ideas and ways to encourage participation in support groups. I like that this event didn't just focus on that. There was also a panel on banned books week. There was also a lineup of different speakers. There was an author talk. We also had breakout groups where we got to learn from other people in our role in many different libraries across Southern California. So it was a very nice event, and I do encourage support group attendance next year, as well as board attendance if you're interested and haven't been. It was a great event. Next, I'll kind of talk about the Altadena Town Council intern visit, which has been touched on a little bit. I really want to thank Katie for participating in that because although she couldn't make it in person, it meant a lot to the teams that they got to hear from so many of us. So it was myself, we had Aaron Kimbrell, the innovations librarian, we had Yvette Casillas, we also had Finn Lee, and they all talked about their role here at the library and the types of programs and services that they offer. And then we also had Katie just really be an advocate for libraries to them and talk about how important libraries are in the community. She touched a little bit about her role on the board, and it just was really nice that we were able to make that happen for them. They had such a great time that even their group leader asked, could he please apply to work here? He said he had never been on such a visit where the staff and the people were so excited about what they do all day. And he was like, I would love to be a part of the team. So that was really nice to hear. So thanks again to all involved in that visit. And then I just want to give a quick update about Building Equity-Based Summers, which is a state library initiative that Ben, Lee, and I have been a part of. They reached out to us directly and asked us to write a grant to help support Bev's programming, and I was able to submit the grant, and we got the grant, which is very exciting.
Congratulations.
So what the grant will allow is for us to be able to offer more of the programs that came out of the community groups that we met with earlier in the year that helped us plan some of the summer programs that we offered. The thing with some of the programs that they wanted, they are better done in small groups. So like the yoga and some of the hands-on workshops, we can only offer them as small groups, meaning only a handful of people could participate. So the grant funds will allow us to offer those same programs again so that more people can partake in the program they wanted to see. So we are really excited for that funding. So look out for more opportunities in August for some of the same programs we had in June and July. And then lastly, I will just give my personal note, which is that my best friend came in town from New Orleans. It was my first time seeing her in person in over 4 years.
Wow.
So it was really exciting to like touch her and feel her again after a long time. Like you forget how important those things are until they're taken away from you by a pandemic. So,
Yeah.
had a nice visit with her. And then lastly, I'll give Nikki's personal note because I just think it's too important not to share that she finally got to walk the stage and have her family watch her do it as she received her master in public administration. So we've already celebrated her here, but I think she's online, but we are just so proud of her that she was able to accomplish that while still doing all she does here. So kudos to you, Nikki.
Yeah.
Thank you. Very nice. I'm just glad to be done.
Yay, no more homework. All right, well, that concludes my administrative update. Any questions?
Thank you, Ashley.
Thank
Any
you.
questions for Ashley?
Good job, Ashley. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Then we will move on to financial reports. We'll be doing that. Is Christie
We
on?
do have Kristen here.
Okay. Hi, Christie.
Hello, trying to get my camera on. I think it's starting. Yes, okay, good evening, trustees and staff. 1 month, closer, one more month for the fiscal year. Do not be alarmed by the header that says July through April. I just saw that moving in. I'm not sure how that wasn't changed. The column headings all say May, the figures are all May, but somehow I missed that in review. So I do apologize, but what you're looking at here are 11 months of activity throughout the year. And I'm just going to highlight a few things. Since we've been going through this every month, there's only a couple of things that have changed or really deserve a highlight. And we'll start with revenue. So on page 38, property taxes are at 97%. We did increase that budget at mid-year, and there are a few things that come in yet in June. So I do anticipate that we'll hit the 100% mark there or very close to in the coming weeks. The other line is line 6, other revenue, and we did receive a payment for the E-rate revenue. We did receive that in June, so that line will also be at 100%. So revenue should be right on target for the year. For expenses, a couple of lines, most of the lines are within a couple % of budget, so we're good. There's a few that are over that I want to speak to, and they should be made up by other lines that are under, so I don't have a concern. I just want to highlight why they're over. The first one is salaried, and we had a position or two that started during the year that started above the beginning in the salary range. And so that took us over a little bit, as well as unused vacation payouts that were not budgeted. And so we'll have to watch for that and try to budget some type of an allowance there so we don't do that again in future years. Line 20 is our, line 21 is the discretionary payment for the unfunded accrued liability for retirement. The board budgeted $225,000, and we've been waiting all year to see where we're going to end for budget. And so what Nikki and I are prepared to do, based on board discussion, the approved budget, what we've been talking about to date, is that we will set up a class account restricted for the unfunded liability. We will transfer at year end any amount up to the $225,000 that we are over budget, over in revenue. So rather than have a transfer to the reserve, we will transfer that money into this account. And we decided that it's better earnings yet than what you can get in the trust accounts at CalPERS. So it'll still be restricted. It'll just have a little more flexibility and be a little easier if we transfer it into class. Now, if for some reason expenses are higher than revenue, we won't have a transfer. If revenue is greater than the 225, that difference will go to the reserve. But we will make a transfer, we believe, of some amount close to the 225. I'm guessing it'll be more in the $150,000 range, but we won't know until we have all our final expenses reported. In terms of operating, most of the lines are good. Advertising's over a little bit, some of it due to recruitment, some of it due to the groundbreaking that was promoted a little more at Bob Lucas. Miscellaneous expenses happen to be some prior year funds that we thought were coming in, both grant funds and regular that did not. And so we did have to write those off. That's usually an infrequent thing and they aren't a huge dollar amount, but it does, of course, make the budget go over quite a bit. Let's see. Let's see, I don't see anything major to talk about in information technology or materials. The mobile library collection on line 57 is being funded right now. Over the last couple months, it'll take a little bit to get those transactions recorded, but now that the van is completed and ready to go, staff have been working to fill that collection. Programming, a few lines are over, a few, just a couple are under, but that has to do with internal allocations. Ashley and David have been making those just small adjustments between lines. So in total, you're right on target, and those should come in on target as well. Line 71, legal fees, we've talked about. I think they've about come to an end for capital expenditures, at least for this year. Next year's budget, those are back. A small amount has been budgeted in the capital budget. So right now we have an overage of $340. I'm projecting that by the time our revenues come in and then the final expenses are recorded, that will be a little closer to 150. And again, we'll move that right into that trust, or excuse me, the class account for that liability, the retirement liability. Any questions about the general fund? Okay, I'll move on to donations and grants. For donations and grants, the majority of revenue has been received. We have 2 lines to note. Line 6 for literacy services. A new payment came in, but we have confirmed it's for next year's grant. So that will be transferred and carried over to next year. And you'll see that line right at 100%. The other line is line 8, lunch at the library. We budgeted 2 years. And so we've only received the FY24 dollars. So again, that budget will be carried over to next year and we'll receive those funds in the next year. So your total donation grants should be at 100% when you see the preliminary report for June. In terms of salaries and wages, most of that is for the grant. They're right on target there. For operating expenses, there is a line 21 that's over, but there's a couple other lines that relate to that. And so that's all for the emergency connectivity fund. And all of that together will be at 100%. So one line is over, another couple lines are under. For programming and materials, again, all of those funds are expected to be spent within the next couple of weeks or recorded. Some have already been spent, just haven't hit the books yet. We'll do that in June. So it looks low, but again, those lines will all be spent. We've been working with staff to make sure that they're all accounted for and will be recorded. So in total, looks like we're at 82% of expenses and showing about $53,000 left to be spent this year. Any questions for donations and grants? Okay, I will move on to page 41, which is the combined summary. And again, pretty much right on target. They're in the 90% with revenue and expenses combined, but this is a nice little snapshot of where the funding is going for each line, where it's coming from, where donations and grants are funding versus where the general fund is. Line 42 for the building projects. This is showing just this year's activity. So you can see that interest earnings continue to come in well above anticipated and budgeted. We're still earning over 5% with class, which is where some of the building projects are invested. We also made a change in the last few months for US Bank investments, and they're earning near 5%. So those dollars have gone up quite a bit. Expenses are just starting to really take off with Bob Lucas, and then still just some planning expenses for Maine. So we're only using a small portion from the proceeds. We're using the interest earnings first, and then of course the proceeds. So we're only at about 26%, but that is because of the delays in construction. I think we'll see this a little more on target when we get into FY25. All right, page 43 are just some of the details for building projects. So you can see how much of it's project management versus your permits and your planning things, studies, and then your architect and design, and then legal fees, which again, you can see that line above where a portion of those were covered from general fund. So to date, we have 25.6 million in building project funds. And that is spread out. That's the grant proceeds and what's invested with US Bank. And then there's a small account with our class. Any questions on any of those, the building reports? Okay, then the last page is page 44, and that's our balance sheet, a very healthy balance sheet again. Assets at $35.8 million. And liabilities are almost 29. And again, the majority of that is for the building project and then the retirement calculations that are put on the books. Any questions on the financials tonight? Okay, next meeting we will do, we'll present preliminary June, and then I think we have the audit scheduled. Yes.
Carrie has a
I don't
question.
know if this is the appropriate place for it, but are we starting to see building materials and such maybe trending down a little bit? I've heard that's happening in the general market, or is it too early to look for those sorts of things as we go forward?
I'm not super familiar. I don't know if Jennifer would be about
Yeah,
that.
I was
Maybe you
gonna
know from the
say
meetings.
Jennifer Pearson's actually here because of the Bob Lucas RFP. She could probably speak to that.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. Yes, I do believe that things are trending downward, but it won't affect our Bob Lucas project because we've already bid that. We will hopefully see a good result when it comes time to bid the main library project though. So hoping that things continue in this trend.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that's all I have.
Christy, you were saying something about next meeting?
Yeah, well, next meeting, we will present preliminary June reports and then the final audit. We've already started scheduling that and working on that. Should be presented perhaps at the October meeting, if not the November meeting. We're going to try and get year-end results presented a little sooner this year. So that's the next thing we'll be moving into, but we will give you a preliminary report next month so you can see where we expect the year to end.
And I don't know if we were going to put this under governance, but we're probably going to cancel the July meeting, Christy, which is supposed to be July 22nd, and schedule a special meeting between July and August because we're going to have to set the special tax rate for for Measure Z. So we'll conduct whatever business. It's going to give you a little more time to prepare the financials. It'll more than likely be the first week of August. So I'll work with the board to figure out a good day for everybody. But I don't think we'd need to have both meetings. So.
Okay, great.
Before I forget to tell you again.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Christy.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
All right, thanks, Christy.
All right. Let's go on to Board of Trustees ad hoc committee reports of Facilities Committee for May 2024.
Everything in the report is, I think, pretty self-explanatory. The only thing I'll mention is that we did have our community focused group meeting here at the library on June 17th. So that was just last week. And we had Jennifer Pearson here, as well as Mark Schuman and some of the other folks who are working on both building projects. We were able to look at some material samples, which was very cool. So we recorded that meeting. If any of you guys on the board would like to check it out, we can make sure you get a copy of that recording. And we do have, I think we still have all the material samples here. I'm looking at the screen, Nikki, like you're there, but you're here. So if you want to check anything out, just let us know, and you can look at carpet or concrete or a tile, whatever it is. But it was good. It was really helpful to check in with everybody and hear their feedback, which was very positive.
And I will add, Katie, I found the recording today and Bryn is going to upload it into our YouTube channel. and then also post that link on the next chapter page. So highly recommend. It was a very informative meeting about where we're at right now. And you get to see the latest renderings of Maine and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you, Brad. Making it accessible. Okay, moving on to liaison report. Is there a government liaison report?
No, I didn't, wasn't able to make a report because of some deadlines regarding bills and stuff, so I'm looking at. So I'll catch up next month. But
Okay,
there was one report I can do orally, and that is that there was an election for a board seat with CSDA that was open for vote, and we voted for Joe McKenzie, who's been involved with special districts, either as a board member or as a person in the different businesses that might be associated with it for over 30 years. So Joe McKenzie, I think it's a 2-year term, and we voted her in by simply voting a new electronic system that they have. And Nikki helped me with that.
did Joe win?
Pardon?
Did Joe win the seat?
It didn't close yet, but I
Oh.
would assume, I think she's the incumbent. I feel like she probably will. And I'll probably see her. I saw another board member last night. I'm at the general manager summit right now. But one thing I'll add, Terry, that everyone might be interested in, I can't remember what it's called. Catalina might be able to tell us better, but there was a bill, or they were trying to get an amendment into the Constitution, or I don't even remember, but it would prevent government agencies from doing ballot measures and potentially retroactively going back on them. And that, I believe, got thrown out by the courts. So that's gone.
Yeah, that was voted down by the California Supreme Court, and which is a huge victory.
Yeah.
So you're right, that's a good. Wow.
Yeah, that was
Right.
really good news for special districts and really government agencies across the state.
Thank you for sharing. Okay, then I don't believe we have any unfinished business, so we will move to new business. The first being review and approval for the request for proposals for the Bob Lucas Memorial Branch Library furniture. And who will be reporting on that? You, Nikki?
Yeah, I'll start us out. I also have Jennifer Pearson here, our capital projects manager, who can probably answer questions better than I can. But as you're all aware, we're in the middle of the Bob Lucas renovation, and a big part of that project is going to be providing furniture, both interior and exterior. So we've worked with Anderson Brule Architects, more specifically our interior designer, Amy Crawford, in coordination with Diana Wong, our branch manager, as well as other staff members, to provide feedback around what type of furniture, pattern, design, all of that, which I guess when you do an RFP to procure furniture, you have to very specifically list everything that you want. And then these brokers, furniture brokers, will then, put in proposals to get the business. So that's why it's many, many pages long, as you can see in the board package. The plan is to post it on Wednesday of this week, and we would hope to bring back the recommendation for the selected firm. I think the timeline was in September, which will still give us time to be able to purchase the furniture, get it delivered, and have it for opening, hopefully in May of next year. So Jennifer, you may, and I guess I'll include that not only did we work with Amy and Jennifer to put together the RFP, but we also have a different version of a professional services agreement. I guess in this type of procurement situation, what our standard one was not the correct form to use. And we worked with Chronic, our law firm, to edit that and prepare that. So that's run through the lawyers as well. What have I forgotten, Jennifer? I'm not sure.
Nothing, just to add on the agreement, because it is a vendor who's supplying, tangible goods rather than a professional service. That's, we decided it was necessary to come up with a different agreement. So now that we've got that in place, we can just edit it for the next one for the main library. But I encourage everyone to take a look at the furniture package. It's got some pretty fun items in there. One thing I'll point out also is that part of the plan is to reuse some of the shelving from the main library that will be displaced as part of that design and put on new end caps. So that's also included. But yeah, we'll look forward to bringing back our recommendation to the September meeting and moving on from there.
So happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions, team, about the RFP?
My only question is, do we get to come to the sit test? What is a sit test? Is it literally what it sounds like? We get to sit in the furniture?
Yeah, you get to sit in the task chairs and adjust them, and yeah, it's exactly what it sounds like. So we'll most likely do that at a local showroom. And so yes, Katie, of course you can come.
Yes. Okay, that was my only question.
It's a good question.
Now I'll vote for it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good question. As I sit and it's very uncomfortable.
Yeah, right?
I'm always moving around like, do I sit forward? So great question. Relevant. Any other questions? Okay, then can I get a motion to approve the request for proposals for the Bob Lucas branch library furniture?
So moved.
Mm,
Ooh, competition. All right. It's fine.
Second.
okay, there we go. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, great. Let's move on to the review and approval of the GAN appropriations limit. Who will be speaking to that? Anyone? Nikki?
Me again. So this one's probably familiar. We bring it to the board every June. So basically the GAN appropriations limit sets like what your maximum property tax collection can look like based on population change as well as per capita. So it's just a formula. Each year, the state puts out the information that we need based on whatever the population change as well as per capita change. You plug it in, and as you can see, our GAN limit for fiscal year 24-25 is $4,897,562 in property tax. As you can see, the budget that we set for fiscal year 25 is $4,608,100. So we're below the limit by almost 300,000. So again, we just have to bring this to you and have you accept the rate and confirm that we're below that. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
Are there any questions for Nikki on this item?
This is just a kind of curiosity question. When Measure A sunsets and we move into the combined Measure Z funding, does debt service like assessment count towards the GAN limit, or is it separate?
I believe it would be separate. That's probably a better question for Christy, who's no longer in, but that
That's
money
fine.
is not included in that total, because it's
Yeah.
in that separate fund. So
Okay.
this does include our special tax assessment, the parcel tax. So the amount that we would be setting, and we're going to have to think about that, making sure that we're staying under that limit, because we're going to get those numbers after this publishes. So it's a good
Right.
point, Katie. Next year, we may have to bring the GAN limit later, depending on when
Yeah.
we set the special tax rate. But yeah, just the service and operational funding would be included in that total.
Okay, got it. Yeah, it's not relevant for this year, but thank you.
No, it's a good question, because we might have to delay setting the GAN limit next year.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you, Katie. Any additional questions about the GAN appropriations limit? Okay, then may I get a motion to approve the GAN appropriations limit? Or, yes, sorry, my application.
I'll move to approve the GAN appropriations limit.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is review and approval of the resolution 2024-02 to prepare the new tax roll.
All right,
So
again,
much.
that'll be mine. And as Katie mentioned, this is our last year with Measure A funding, which is what this is. We're setting the rate for the new tax roll that will go into effect with LA County so that they know how much to collect per parcel for this next fiscal year. So this year, as you can see, and I apologize, page 135 should have come after 136, but so that's the rate, as you can see on page 135. A single family unit would, and again, the rate increase from last year to this year is 3.36%. For a single family home, it will now be $67.45. Apartment units, $46.23. Commercial units under 10,000, $136.78. And commercial units above 10,000 square feet, $184.94. So again, we just have to set this rate. And happy to answer any questions. Hopefully I can.
Are there any questions? Nope. Okay, then may I get a motion to approve the resolution to prepare the new tax roll?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great, thank you. Okay, next we have review and approval of the workplace violence prevention policy.
I'll go ahead and introduce that item. So in, I believe last December, fall, there was a Senate bill passed that requires all employers now to have a workplace violence prevention plan in place. So it's Senate Bill 553. So basically, there are very specific guidelines. We actually did have a workplace violence prevention plan in our personnel policies. They basically a very much more detailed expansion of what that was. So it's not like there was anything wrong with that, but this basically sets what the standard is, which is required now. So it names the 4 different types of workplace violence. It designates administrators of the plan, which basically can be any manager, but there are specific people designated and named in the policy. It also contains appendices, which are used in reporting workplace violence, in assessing hazards in the workplace. And basically in developing this plan, it was a joint effort between management and staff as required by the policy. So staff were given opportunities for input. Management worked on this over a few months, taking a look at it. It was reviewed by our HR consultant, Patty Francisco, and it was also reviewed by Chronic, our legal consultants. And that's what we have presented to you for today. Staff are also going to be trained at this at our next staff meeting. It's very thorough.
Yeah.
And that's why
Very
the,
detailed.
yeah, when you look at the document, that's why there's so many different colors. It's because many different people reviewed the plan.
Thank you, Catalina. Are there any questions about the workplace violence prevention plan?
No,
Or
it's very
policy?
comprehensive.
Agreed. Okay. Then may I get a motion to approve the workplace violence prevention plan or prevention policy?
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. We are moving, y'all. Okay. Lastly, we have a review and approval of the date change for this year's staff development day. Hi, Nikki.
Hello. And before I go into this, I do want to give Catalina a huge shout out because she pretty much put together the workplace prevention plan, did a lot of research. So I'm so glad I have someone that loves research working right next to me like her. So thank you, Catalina.
Yes.
She put a lot of work into that to make sure it was very thorough. Okay, so we originally, as like each year when we set out the library closure calendar at the end of the year, we designated October 14th as the day that we would close for Staff Development Day. Typically that's Columbus Day / Indigenous Peoples Day. People think you're closed anyway. But we have the opportunity this year to send the staff to one day of California Library Association conference that's being held in Pasadena. So we're asking to change the date from October 14th to October 18th. So we will be open on October 14th instead. Fiscal impact, I'm working on trying to get some no-cost scholarships for some of the staff that qualify. So 6,000 to me is probably as high as it will go. I'm probably going to get it substantially lower. But in addition to paying for registration, I'm planning to organize like lunch for all of us to come back together, hang out, and I will send an invitation to the trustees if you guys are interested in going to CLA this year as well. But I love this idea. I did it with the Glendale staff when I chaired the conference in 2019. I think it's a great opportunity for every one of the staff members to get to network with the professionals from across the state and choose what kind of program they want to attend. So asking that you approve changing the date.
So move.
Okay.
I mean.
Are there any questions? Any
I mean.
I love the wholehearted support. Let's do it.
Okay, there's no, or is there no discussion? We have a,
Where are they gonna, in Pasadena, are they having it at a special
Convention center.
at the convention center?
At the convention center, yeah, right next to Paseo, Colorado.
Okay, gotcha.
so we have a motion on the
Oh,
floor.
second.
There we go.
Yeah.
All in favor?
I,
Aye. Excellent. Okay, nice work. So we have governance next. You mentioned that, Nikki, but do we need to do something here on that? There's not anything on the agenda.
No, I just wanted to mention it and get your feedback. I mean, we can still hold the regular meeting in July. Last year we didn't have a July meeting and we seemed okay. It wasn't like August and September were crazy. And like, if there are things that come up that we feel like we could put on that agenda that can be handled at a special meeting, we'll do that as well. But it would be my recommendation that we cancel because we're gonna have to meet again between July and August. So as long as the board's supportive of that, we'll plan on canceling and we'll poll all of you to find a good date that first week of August.
I think that's great.
Sounds like you have support. Thank you
Cool.
for that. All right, let's move on. Is there any correspondence?
There is none.
Are there any proposed future agenda items? All right, then can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting at 5:59?
What?
Hurry up before it turns 6
So
o'clock.
move, go, do it.
Second.
All